Assalamu alaikum dears. We will be discussing the issue of acceptability and intelligibility in the field of world English as we know that English is not a single language in the world. Now there are many varieties in English language. For example, we have American, British, Pakistani variety, South Asian variety, Indian variety, and Arabic variety, South African variety. We have so many varieties of English language, and that is why English is considered as English is. So the basic issue in discussing world English is the issue of acceptability. A variety is acceptable or not, or a variety is intelligible or not. So let's start. The question of acceptability is not linked with that of intelligibility. Acceptability is one thing and intelligibility is another thing. In the past, non-acceptance of non-native English was partly motivated by the ethnocentrism on the part of native speakers and snobbery on that of non-native ones. Thus, as Kachru has highlighted, that to have one English labeled Indian or Pakistani was an ego-cracking insult. In Africa too, attitudes towards English are similar. According to Jibril, most Nigerian speakers of English think that Pidgin English is what is meant by Nigerian English, since in their view they speak and write the Queen's English. In Sri Lanka, according to Fernando, writers are always dogged by the fear of being guilty of that greatest of linguistic sense. Now, these are different comments. Look at this Pidgin English. Pidgin, what is Pidgin? A Pidgin is a variety of a language or a language that is sometimes considered a trade language, which is a combination of different languages, especially in the place where speakers of different languages live at one place and they do not understand the language of each other. So Nigerian English was considered as Pidgin English, and then there is another issue in Sri Lanka that has been highlighted, that linguistic sense. There are many linguistic mistakes that the writers they were afraid of while they were writing. And as Kachru pointed out, Indian and Pakistani English ego-cracking insult to speak these language. These attitudes are, however, changing. In fact, according to Kachru, this kind of non-acceptance is one of the three phases through which the non-native variety of English pass. In the first phase, the very existence of the local variety is not recognized. In the second, described above, it is recognized but considered substandard. In the third, it is slowly accepted as the norm, and the division between the linguistic norm and behavior is reduced. So these are three different varieties. In the first variety, in the very initial stage of a regional variety, it is not accepted by the majority of the native speakers. In the second, it is recognized as a variety, but it is considered substandard. And in the third phase, it is accepted as a norm and as a variety of English language. Pakistani English is probably in the third stage. Before 1984, the term Pakistani English was almost unknown, and the assumption in the English-speaking circles was that educated Pakistanis use British English. All deviations from it were considered mistakes, and once people were made aware that a future of their writing was Pakistani, they tried to avoid it altogether. In 1984, college and universities lecture began to be trained in teaching English as an international language. Now there is some awareness that there are non-native varieties of English, though in private conversations people still manifest prejudice against Pakistani English and consider it only incorrect English. There are still people who prefer British English and who speak British English, British accent especially, and American accent. However, the only survey on scientific lines on the acceptability of Pakistani English by teachers and journalists is by Baumgartner, who distributed 150 questionnaire to the former and 165 to the second group to find out how acceptable features of Pakistani English were to them. Most non-native varieties of English, thanks to the efforts of linguists and years of campaigning by Kachru and others, are now passing through the third phase. Native speakers, especially linguists, too have started recognizing them as legitimate variety. Pakistani English is also considered as a legitimate variety these days, and it has gone through its second stage, which was a substandard. Now, Pakistani English is a variety of English language. There are some, however, who contend like Parter that very few of non-native speakers use variety of English that is standard. Look at 1968 comment. Now we are living in 2020-21. The comment of Prater 1968 that Pakistani English is the most unintelligible educated variety of English for the rest of the English-speaking world. But now it is an acceptable and intelligible variety of English language. Intelligibility, however, is not always easy to determine, though there have been studies of it with reference to non-native varieties of English. According to Smith and Rafiqzad, whose study was done with 1386 people in 11 countries in Asia, a person speaking any variety of educated English, although phonologically non-native, can expect to be intelligible to his listener. Nelson, who studied intelligibility that would coincide with the situations and functions at hand, in a study of intelligibility of international English with respect to lexical and semantic innovations, another researcher concluded that numerous items in international English were found to be intelligible to some native speakers while unintelligible to some other, because these were cultural varieties and these were the addition from the different cultures to English language. In fact, most people who are willing to make some effort to understand non-native varieties of English do find educated speakers of them very much intelligible. This insistence on educated speaker is crucial because, as Kachu rightly points out, the intelligibility of institutionalized non-native varieties of English form a cline. This cline can in turn be related to Halliday and Kachru concept of the cline of bilingualism. As interference of L1 and culture-bound lexio-semantic feature increases, intelligibility and acceptability both decreases. Most educated speakers, however, may be said to be around the central point on decline. According to Kachru, this includes the large number of civil servants or educators in Bangladesh, India, Pakistan, Nepal, and Sri Lanka who make use of typically South Asian register of English, their respective areas of operation. So, in an institutionalized variety, we can see that the interference of L1 is less than an uninstitutional variety, then we also can see that the more the people are exposed to the native variety, their variety or their use of English is very much intelligible and acceptable by the native speakers. So the issue of intelligibility and acceptability with other varieties of English language is a key concern of the researchers since long. And there are many varieties of English language in different countries that is acceptable as well as intelligible to the native speakers. Although sub-varieties in these varieties, for example, sub-variety in Pakistani English might not be intelligible sometimes to the native speakers, or sometimes it will not be acceptable to the native speakers. But as a whole, we can say that in this modern technological world, with the advancement in media and trade and internet, many people they are exposed to the native varieties, and many varieties of the world they have been understood as standard varieties in their own situations, cultures and contexts. This is what we have briefly discussed the issue of intelligibility and acceptability of Englishes in this video. Thank you.